Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are here with the monthly closeout for the month of June. And let's get started. Wasn't as bad as last month, but still not as good as I like. So we did go over on Easy Pass by $25. I guess we just did a little bit more driving. I know we picking the girls up from college and going back up for my daughter's college graduation and all sorts of things. So it just went over this month, so that's fine. I do have a cushion that I keep in our bill account, so that's this line here, and I'm just going to cover it with that cushion. Okay, and then we went over by $449.23 on groceries. Still not ideal, but it's better than where it was last month. I think it was almost $1,800 in groceries. This month it was $1,439.23, so a little bit better, but still not where I want it to be. But we are going to cover that overspending with our savings sweep line. So that's $449.23 going to groceries. And then kid car maintenance, $11.91. We don't really budget into this category, if I'm being honest, because at least for the past couple years anyway, since I started YouTube, my daughters were covering their own car expenses, car maintenance, and things like that. But my daughter bought her own car this past month. So my older daughter bought a car, was it last summer or the summer before? New to her, not brand new cars. But and we have a car that we dubbed the kid car. And so when she bought her car, my older daughter, last summer, then it was just my other daughter who was using the kid car. And now she has since bought her own car, so that she could be able to take it back up to college with her. And so now the kid car has kind of fallen back onto us to pay for everything, because my next daughter, who will be a junior this coming year, isn't even 16 yet. She won't be 16 until September. So we're kind of taking on the car insurance for that car, and the repairs up until she gets her license, which probably won't be till the spring, because she gets her permit and then it's the 6 month waiting period, while she's practicing before she can even sign up for her license. So that was what we did with all of our kids. Once they were licensed, that they had to pay for their gas, their car insurance, and maintenance and upkeep, you know, on the cars. So, anyway, and on top of all that, my husband decided that the kid car that we had um, was getting a little bit old and probably we need to get something different, because that car was a 2006. And so my neighbor, literally my next door neighbor, was getting a new car and just so happened to be talking to my husband. And my husband's like, let me know what the trade in they give you for the trade in. And they worked out a deal. And so my husband bought my neighbor's car for $2,500. He paid cash for it because he sold the other kid car that we had for $2,500. So you won't see any of that on here because it was just like almost like all cash, even deal, but it did transpire. But anyway, this $11.91 was something to fix this new kid car. The back spoiler was no longer attached. It's just clips or whatever that my husband ordered on Amazon, and they clip right in, but the clips were broken. So he's going to fix that, and there's probably going to be some other repairs coming through for different things that it needs. Um, but anyway, yeah, so we did get a new to us kid car, and that was like an even swap. Worked out well for us. Uh, but anyway, we got to cover this $11.91. So, and I'm not looking forward to having to take on that car insurance bill, but it is what it is for the time being. Um, okay, so my personal purchases, I think these are books. Yeah, I bought two different books that I wanted to read. So I'm just going to cover the 4236 in overspending. Oh, what happened here? I thought I put that in, but I guess I didn't. Where did that go? Recent moves. 4236 went to unassigned. Okay. So let's undo that. And let's redo that. That was weird. Okay, that one worked. Okay, and then restaurant and entertainment. We were overspent by $335.12. We spent a total of $455. 12. My son's 8th grade graduation. We ordered lunch. We got breakfast out at the diner after church one Sunday. One of my husband's friends stopped by unexpectedly, and we just grabbed some pizza. Father's Day, we got it looks like we got breakfast and dinner on Father's Day, and for the 8th grade awards ceremony, we stopped in 7-Eleven and the kids got slushies. So, yeah, so most of that was just kind of like celebrations, sort of. It's just crazy. Unfortunately, when you have 5 kids and you go out, this is what happens. So, but anyway, that was overspent by $335.12. So we're going to cover that. And then my son's lacrosse was overspent by $29.21. I'm not sure what the 569 is because I didn't put a memo in there, but this was camp stuff that he was going to need for camp, because he is going to lacrosse camp. So we went over by $29.21. So I'm just going to cover that. And frontline for the dogs, it's tick season, so we needed more tick medication, and that put us over by $29.55. So I'm not sure why we went over, because I thought I had that covered, but because that's one of the things we budget regularly for. But maybe it's because I don't know if I ever changed the amounts from when we got our second dog. That could be why. But nonetheless, they needed it. So and the final category that we were over in was school events, and that was because my daughter went on a field trip for the leadership council that she sits on at the end of the year, and so that put us over by $27. Okay, and that leaves $414.76 in our savings sweep for the end of the month. And that is what we use when I do my Friday freebies and I do the savings challenges. That's the amount that gets used for those challenges. I just kind of divide it out over the weeks, and I have fun like seeing where it gets allocated to. So now if we jump over to our spending report, groups, okay. In total for the month of June, we spent $7,297.12. $3,881.01 of that was on monthly fixed expenses. So $2,614.74 of that was our mortgage. So that's the majority of it. $280 for our gas and electric bill. $223.84 of that was for our dental insurance. $200.01 of that was for my husband's life insurance policy, and cell phones was $137. Water was $109.45. Car insurance was $106.23. That does not seem right to me, but that could be because we made a lot of adjustments. So like my daughter got her new car, so she was originally paying the car insurance on the kid car, and so there was some prorated adjusting that went on. So I think that's why that number does look strange. But next month our portion is going up $73, so that'll be a thing. But anyways, internet was $100.56. Easy Pass was $60, and my life insurance was $49.18. For our weekly spending, groceries, there it is. So for our weekly spending, we spent a total of $1,963.59, and the majority of that is groceries at $1,439.23. My husband's gas was $237.63. My gas for my car was $145.23. And I don't know why my husband's work expenses are coming in here, but $141.50 that he had in working expenses, but that gets reimbursed through his job, so that really shouldn't even be included in this. So it's probably less. It's probably $141.50 less, this number, because that actually gets reimbursed. So um, moving on to our sinking funds. So we spent a total of $1,452.52. And of that, $455.12 was restaurants and entertainment, which is pretty much all restaurants, because I showed you that it was all like going and getting celebratory dinners and meals for Father's Day, eighth grade graduation. We did have one of my husband's friends stop by, so we grabbed some pizza and things like that. So, um, vacations, we spent $200.05. This is on the garbage for my in-laws' summer home. So my in-laws do have a house in Cape May, and we do go there and use it for a week in the summer. And so our contribution is that we always pay for the garbage. My husband also does a lot of work down there. He fixes a lot of stuff. He was just down there. Unfortunately, my husband's uncle passed away, and he was just down there for the services, and my father-in-law had him fixing all sorts of electrical things while he was down there. So, but we do every year pay for the garbage service for the house. So that's what that is, $200.05. We spent $181.60 in yard maintenance. I'm pretty sure this was all had to do with our patio. This was some boards that need to be repaired on our deck. And then this was a cushion that we bought for our glider. And then blinds. We bought a set of outdoor blinds because I don't want to stare at underneath our deck. Underneath our deck is kind of like unsightly. And where our patio is, like, there's a portion where like I just stare into it, and I was like, I'm just gonna put a blind there so I don't have to look at it. But anyway, yeah. So yard maintenance, we spent $181.60. Father's Day, we spent $147.77. We got a fire pit. That was his main gift. And then my husband takes salads to work, and he wanted a new salad container. This is actually a 3-pack, so that's why it's $32.49. It wasn't just one container. And then this was something for my father-in-law, so I'm not sure what that was. But anyway, moving on. My car registration was due, so that was $128.50. In doctor's copays, we paid $100 or $107.01. For my son's lacrosse, we paid $58.21. Clothes, this was for my daughter. She needed bathing suits, so I put $50 on her debit card so that she could go shopping with my other daughter and get herself some bathing suits. School events, this was the field trip she went on with her leadership council that she's on. And then these was the books that I had purchased for myself, so that came out of my personal line. And we spent $41.51 on oil change supplies for my husband's car so he can do his oil change. Tithe was $40. Frontline for our dogs was $39.55. My car was due for a car inspection for $37. Pool maintenance was $21.63. I'm pretty sure this was just like pool salt. Yeah, shock to open the pool. Car repairs for my husband's car. There was some kind of button or something, switch or something that he needed to repair in his car. So that was $17.33. And $15.87 from my husband's personal line. I'm not sure what he bought. I don't know. Usually, I don't see anything with that exact amount, so it's probably a combination of these things. And yes, my husband does pay for Hulu and Paramount out of extra cash that he earns from doing side jobs. And if at some point those side jobs dry up or whatever, then that stuff goes away. But anyways, the $11.91 for the kid car maintenance to get the clips to put the spoiler back on the back of the kid car, and house maintenance is $1.35. What could we have possibly bought for $1.35? Oh, measuring spoons. I went to the Dollar Tree and I got a set of measuring spoons because my husband broke not one but both of my measuring spoons. So a couple months back, he broke my favorite ones. I had metal ones, and they were really old because my grandmother's cousin, I guess it was, she unfortunately got dementia right when I was buying my first house. I mean, this is probably close to almost 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. And they were, my grandmother was, you know, the executive of her estate. So she said, come and take whatever you can use for your house, because I had nothing. I was coming from my parents' house to my own house. And so I got a bunch of things, and I loved this metal measuring spoon set that I got. And I probably bought, maybe I could find it on eBay. I don't know. But anyway, he managed to break it. And I was like, you broke my measuring spoons, my favorite measuring spoons. Of course, I had another set, but they weren't my favorite one. Anyway, I came in to make myself a second cup of coffee and found the measuring spoon that I used to measure like the protein powder I put in my coffee broken. And I'm like, what is this? It was on the counter. Because he had made the cup for me, the first cup of coffee for me, and I guess he broke it, and then he didn't say anything. But anyway, I was like, so I went to the Dollar Tree and I picked myself up a new set of measuring spoons. I forgot about that. But yeah, I'm like, house maintenance, like $1.35. That's so bizarre. But that's what that was. And kid car registration, we didn't have anything. I'm not sure why they show up when they're zero, but yeah, so that was it for our sinking funds purchases. And so altogether, that was $7,297.12 for the month of June. And coming into July, I anticipate this to probably be an expensive month because I've yet to pay neither one of my girls' tuition for college. Oh, yeah. So I have my one daughter who will be going back for her grad school year. And then I have my other daughter that's starting her second year. So I'm still waiting for those bills. So I don't know if they'll come in July or August, but that'll be fun when they come. But anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share my channel with others. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.